Hello, this is Cryptolyze. I hope you are well. This Tuesday, 31 October 2023, we meet today to talk about EGLD, Elrond's crypto, I should say rather, now Multiverse X. So as usual, we're going to dissect this video into two parts. A fundamental part, we are going to come back to what Multiverse X is. It's news because there have been quite a few things. There were the X days, which took place at the end of October, and we are going to come back to all that. And we are going to project ourselves on the price for a short, medium, long-term perspective on purchase prices, sale prices, and it starts right away. As a reminder, you always have the possibility of having free access to the educational course, which is a 60-hour training worth 400 euros, which allows you to learn blockchain, crypto, investment, analysis technique, trading, everything to become profitable. Through 130 videos, 400 pages of guides, quizzes to find out where you are in your progress, and all for free. To have access to this lifelong training, simply use the platform of one of our partners. Everything is explained in the comments and descriptions. Multiverse X, formerly Elrond, is a blockchain that really aims to offer a solution to Ethereum. It's a bit like the construction of the Ethereum killer at the time of 2021, in which we had Ethereum saturation and a desire to find additional solutions to be able to offer scalable blockchain solutions for decentralized finance. So they have really been removed from this image for some time now, notably with a major rebranding which took place through Multiverse X. The principle is that Elrond is a level 1 blockchain which aims to structurally offer functional building blocks for developers to be able to build decentralized applications. So Multiverse X, in their rebranding, there is not necessarily unanimity on this, even if their desire is interesting. That is to say that they want to in fact create a complete ecosystem which is revolved around X, around the multiverse. And that's really the general idea of their name. That is to say that X will in fact be the common section of all applications. And this is also the strength of the rebranding that they had, because historically when we had Elrond, we had Maillard, we finally had lots of small applications that had their own name, and we didn't have a global image. We didn't have complete branding. They will go even further because their goal, really, is to create a blockchain that is accessible, in which onboarding is excessively simple. And on that, they succeeded rather well, because their application, the X wallet, is really very well done, in which you have access to everything directly in a few clicks. And it's even slower, because they are in the process of integrating all the applications around the X wallet to have the exchange directly, the management, on-ramp, off-ramp. That is to say the fact of being able to buy crypto with fiat currency, therefore like euros and dollars, and being able to sell your crypto for euros and dollars. So behind them, they have this notion of a multiverse that they are also trying to have, which is the X portal, in which they want to be able to ultimately create a metaverse ecosystem where we would go through the portal to be able to access the rest. Well, for me, I tend to tell you that what will be really important, it will be all of the functional bricks that they are making available, because their goal, I think, is to create a great application for be able to integrate the entire blockchain ecosystem and make the development they have carried out available to other blockchains. And it is really, for me, the continuity of the development that they are having at the level of EGLD and Multiverse X. Besides, there are great possibilities of having a rebranding of the crypto itself, that it is no longer called EGLD. I think we will hear about it shortly. So, we had the X days, so that is very important. These are the days of discussion in which we have presentations, we explain the different developments, and it is during an X day that they had done the rebranding. Generally, we have a relatively significant announcement effect, and there we're going to ask ourselves the question of, did we have something that was interesting in 2023? So, I'm going to respond with a non-answer. So, yes and no. We had some nice elements, but overall, we didn't have a revolution. So, in the cool elements, we had an integration of ZK which will arrive in Multiverse X. In any case, there is work being done with the universal ZK which could arrive precisely in the Multiverse X runtime, which is not yet integrated. We have a real evolution which is carried out at the level of the statistics of Multiverse X. Their goal is to be there. Currently, they are at 6 seconds of block time and 15 zero transactions per second. So you have to understand that Multiverse X is multi-charging. So that means that there are several blockchains which are interfaced with each other and which communicate with each other. This means that there are 5,000 transactions per shard, and then it still takes almost a minute. So a little less than a minute of finality for all the transactions between the different shards can be made and validated, in fact, throughout the Multiverse X blockchain. So ultimately, they want to have 1 second of block time, 1 lock of transactions per second, and up to 25-0 if they have a verticalization of the hardware. So I think it's going to take a little while, and then they want 2 seconds of intrachart finality, and that's really great. This means that we would be below 5 seconds for total finality on the entire chain. And that's a big thing technically. It's something that could be really very strong, and that would make it possible to have strong scalability at the level of blockchains and at the level of Multiverse X, and to have a product that could be competitive indeed compared to other blockchains. Alongside, we have other little things coming. Like, for example, they are going to focus on the notion of on-ramp and off-ramp with Xportal, which really aims to integrate a set of elements to make a great app we're not going to hide, with the ability to be able to chat, the bank card, fund transfers, an assistant boosted by ChatGPT-4, having 3D avatars next to it, finally having lots of things that are in the process of being arrived, and they announced that there was going to be certainly QF4 and early 2024, a certain number of announcements, particularly in multi-wallet supports, and to have quite a few things to be able to facilitate access once again to the blockchain. The real goal of Multiverse X is to create an easily accessible product to facilitate the arrival of new users and the use of crypto in everyday life. So we are going to finish in the fundamental part. We are going to attack the technical part, which is rather classic, in which we have this diagram that we find in this Vogue of 2021, with first bullish acceleration, retracement, second bullish acceleration. We set up a nice distribution and a bearish breakout in 3 stages, A, B, C, which leads us into here a reaccumulation zone, which is the spot zone in which we find an accumulation of Wickoff. We are going to zoom in so as to see it clearly. An accumulation of Wickoff, which is still in a downward bias. We are not going to hide it, in which we have an SC, ST, STB, and there we are currently in the installation of a spring in a descending channel. So we still end up with a certain number of weeks where we have an EGLD which begins to regain a little bit of effort. I mean, we went from $22 to almost $30. We are in the process of retesting a resistance zone which is relatively strong with in fact a filling of the previous candle. We should be able to go and retest the $36 and actually break this $36, which is generally the oblique that has been holding us for some time. I'm just going to trace it so it's nice and clean, so that we can say to ourselves that we are in the process of increasing again. The breakage of this oblique would also lead to the breakage of $38, which would in fact give a strong signal here because we would potentially have a reversal, which could be carried out in this way, a retest and a breakout. If we don't have that as a basis, we just have a continuation of the downward trend, all right? If we manage to have that, at that point we will have a strong signal to tell ourselves that we are starting to rise again. As long as we don't have this breakdown of the 38 and then a bearish retest. Whether it is small or prolonged, it doesn't matter, but we absolutely need this breakoff structure to have a bullish signal, in particular to validate this accumulation and to say to ourselves that we are starting there again. The second stage would be the breakdown of the $54, which is still relatively high at the moment. I find it difficult to actually imagine a bullish breakout now. I think we would really have to wait for Q1, Q2, Q3, or even Q4 2024 to have a big acceleration at the level of GLD, but we still remain in this classic spot zone reaccumulation if the project interests you. In terms of target, what can we set? Already it is a crypto that had performed well during the previous bull run. We have an ecosystem that is relatively complete. We still have a lot of news. We have something that is rebranded around onboarding, and therefore ease accessibility. The only flaw is that we are still very focused on a European market, and not very much on a US market. So on that you will tell me yes, but it is rather positive given what is happening with the SEC. Yes, but at the same time, that means that we are still cutting off a large part of the economy, and in particular the American economy, which is we are not going to hide it, still pro-crypto, even if the regulation part is in progress. Arriving. So we would have a big wave 1, a big wave 2, and a big wave 3 here, which could set up. So Elliotist wave, we play the classic fractality in which we could look for the 1.618 with an EGLD at $900. On the other hand, it is imperative to reach these levels to have an ecosystem that is growing, to have alongside a set of new elements which show that we have an ecosystem which is starting to take shape and which manages to attract enough users. To create costs to become profitable and next to have a continuity of effective development. So, the first thing that I would validate before aiming for this objective would be the break here of the $200 minus $250, okay? For me, this is going to be an area that is going to be really very critical, which is the area that had been worked on a lot at the beginning of 2022, before the fall of Terra Luna, in which we have a lot of people who are trapped, and behind, there would potentially be an X8 to be made, and therefore there will be massive profit taking. So, we will have to be careful here. See the price reaction. Do we have a form of distribution or a form of reaccumulation? Reaccumulation. At that point, we would look higher. Distribution? This would imply that we would have a bearish retest, which potentially would be a form of drop in the price, and we will have to operationally monitor during the next bull run the ecosystem, the news, the membership around Multiverse X, and behind the prices. Do we have a distribution or a reaccumulation? But in any case, we will deal with it on the channel. I hope you liked this video. If so, don't forget to leave me a like and a comment. It supports me enormously, and it makes me very happy, and we'll see you at 7 o'clock tomorrow for the daily.